Yeah, so how is everyone doing?
Very well.
Do better.
Good, great. All right. Well, so if someone else comes, we will definitely let them in. But I think we can already start. And some of you joined these events already last year. So we have held the Meet the Tea Farmer events since 2020. And we have held them about 8 times. And this was actually the inspiration for the Japanese Tea Marathon that also, I think a lot of you joined as well. And we had a bit of a break, but now we are coming back, and our first guest, I think you can recognize those of you who joined the Japanese Tea Marathon. We have with us Miyazaki-san, and also with him joining is Yokoyama-san. こんにちは。おはようございます。
おはようございます。
いつもありがとうございます。はい、少し一言みんなに言ってくれますか？
皆さんおはようございます。
Hello everyone.
宮崎茶房の宮崎明と
横山です。
So this is Miyazaki, Akira Miyazaki from Miyazaki Sabo Tea Farm and Yokoyama-san.
今日はですね、ゆっくりうちの宮崎茶房のお茶をですね、飲んでいただきたいと思います。よろしくお願いします。
So today I want to spend time with all of you to share the Miyazaki Sabo tea and drink it together with you. Okay. And also this time we are having a smaller group than on the marathon. So we really want to have this interactive. So we want to have time for you to have a conversation with Miyazaki-san, to ask your questions, to share your opinions and so on. And to get to know each other, it would be nice if you also could introduce yourselves, just to say your name and where you're from. And just before that, one small notice is that we are recording the event. So if you really don't want to be recorded in any way, then video and audio would be the best to keep off, and then you can use the chat for that interaction. But if you don't mind to be recorded, then we will really welcome you to participate and yeah, ask your questions and share your thoughts. So with that, who would like to introduce themselves first?
I will introduce myself because I'm then going to go stop video so I can finish my dinner. And I don't love the idea of people watching me eat. I'm Cynthia Goldberg. I'm from Northern California, and I am just having fun dealing with tea during the pandemic. It's I'm retired. I worked at the university here, and I'm a tea drinker. I don't really know that much about growing tea or processing tea or all of the variations. So I'm going to be an interested listener.
Thank you so much, Cynthia. One moment, I'm going to translate. 今はシンティアですね。カリフォルニアに住んでて、で大学に働いてて、お茶が好きなんですけど、そんなによくは知らないんですから、今日いろいろの話聞きたいですね。はい。Thank you so much. All right. Who would like to say something next?
Lisa Bachman. I'm in York, Pennsylvania, the United States. And I'm excited to be here and to learn more about your tea. I have gone through the Japanese tea course 1 and 2, and so look forward to be able to join the master class, hopefully, but really enjoying the Japanese teas, learning about them, and especially each individual farmer and their personal takes on the tea.
Thank you, Lisa. 今回はリサさんですね。アメリカのヨークから来てます。 で、お茶がすごく興味があって、国際日本茶協会の生徒もありました。一緒に勉強しました。で、今、オンラインいろいろ活動ありましたけど、今度は日本にも行きたくて、茶農家さんから直接にお茶のことを学びたいですね。Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
I'm Mark Pearson from New Zealand, and enjoyed very much Miyazaki-san's presentation in the Global Tea Marathon. So looking forward to today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. マークさんですね、ニュージーランドの方。日本茶のマラソンの時ですごく宮崎さんの話が良かったので、今回も楽しみですね。Thank you, Mark.
I'm Audrey Guzik. Audrey, I live in Massachusetts, in the US. I also was at the Japanese Tea Marathon. And so I remember Miyazaki-san from that. And I'm very interested to hear what he has to say today about his tea, because he seems very interested in innovation and experiment. And so that interests me very much.
オードリーですね、アメリカのマサチューセッツからですね。で、マラソンにも参加してて、で、その時はよく宮崎さんの話聞いてよく覚えてて、で、結構、新しいこととか、新しいお茶作る考え、宮崎さんがあるから、それはすごく面白いと思ってて、今回の話も聞きたいと思います。はい。And we still have a few more.
I can go next. Hey
Okay.
everyone, my name is Corey. Ore no namae wa Corey desu. I'm from Missouri in America. Ore no shushin wa Beikoku Beikoku no shushin. Missouri shu. I've been drinking tea maybe 15 years or so. So 多分15年前からずっとお茶を飲んでいますよ。Yeah, looking forward to brewing up your teas. Thank you very much. ありがとうね。よろしくお願いします。
Thank you, Cody. I think we don't need to translate. You did very well.
I'm Paula Winchester, and since Corey was from Missouri, I need to know where in Missouri, since I'm in Kansas City, Missouri.
I'm in St. Louis.
St. Louis, okay, opposite sides of the state.
Yep.
So I've been into tea for probably 20 years or more, and I've already tasted most of the teas just because I can't drink too much caffeine at night. So I have a little spearmint with ginger over here waiting, and I'm very interested in how he produced the very aromatic and floral and sweet hojicha. That was stunning. So I will pass on and let people keep going.
Okay, thank you, Paula. That's what we're going to learn about today. So we are going to ask Miyazaki-san definitely about how the tea is made. And for now, I'm just going to translate. ポーラさんですね、アメリカのカンザスシティから来てます。で、お茶も20年ぐらいもう飲んでて、で、今ちょっとアメリカで夕方の時間ですから、カフェインちょっと注意しながら、他の飲み物飲んでますけど、もう宮崎さんの届いてたお茶を一回入れてみまして、で、ほうじ茶はすごく美味しかったです。どうやって作ってるか、今日よく聞きたいですね。Thank you, Paula.
You look.
Okay.
go ahead.
Hello, I'm Patrick. I'm from Montana, and I was able to try Miyazaki-san's tea during the tea marathon, and very much enjoyed it. So I'm very much looking forward to this.
Thank you, Patrick. パトリックさんですね、モンタナ州アメリカから来てまして、で、日本茶マラソンにも参加してて、その時すごくお茶美味しかったから、今日も楽しみにしてます。Thank you so much, Patrick.
My name is Delphine. Maybe I can try this bit in Japanese. So, Delphine des, Canada Jin des. But it's the only thing I can say. I've been working in tea for 10 years, and I am especially interested in Japanese tea. And I'm very excited to learn more about teas that are not green tea or innovation. And for that, I'm so excited for today's event. I really enjoyed both of the tea, and I'm curious to learn more about it. Thank you.
デルフィンですね、カナダから来てます。で、お茶の仕事も10年ぐらいしてまして、で、マラソンにも参加してて、で、今回のお茶も、すごく入れる楽しみですね。Okay, and I think almost everyone. We also have M from Houston. Would you like to join us? If
yes,
not,
sorry, I had to unmute for a second. Yeah, I'm Im. I'm from Houston in the US. I got to try Miyazaki Sabo's tea for the first time earlier this month. Their Kamairicha, which I really enjoyed. So I'm excited to have more of their teas and to hear more from them.
Thank you so much. M ですね、ヒューストンから来てまして、で、今月は初めて宮崎さんのお茶入れまして飲んでみました。で、今日のイベントにも楽しみです。Thank you so much. And I think we are all. If I missed someone, please let me know. We will invite you to introduce. But I think we probably have everyone. By now, if someone joins later, we will let them in. So this is our group today. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And we are really grateful to have Miyazaki-san with us with the two beautiful teas. They make, of course, a lot more of the teas, a lot of different kinds. But today we get to taste and to talk about the two that they decided to present us. And actually, without waiting any further, I think it's really nice to start with the tea itself. So we have something to drink, and then we can talk a little more about how they are created and also a bit more about the Miyazaki-san's farm. So first of all, let's make the tea. 最初からお茶入れましょうか。
はい。では
お願いします。
最初、ほうじ茶入れましょうかね。花かほうじ茶。
はい。So let's start with ほうじ茶。
ほうじ茶、まず4グラム。
So first of all, about making the hojicha, we will be needing 4 grams.
一回茶器温めますね。最初。
And first of all, let's warm up the teaware. Can everyone see well? Both of the screens? Yeah? Okay. Alright.
最初はお湯だけを入れて、急須を温めます。
So first of all, we are pouring the boiling water into the teapot just to warm it up.
今、日本は冬なので、とてもこれが冷たくなっているので、温めることがとても大切です。
So right now we are in the winter season here in Japan, and it's quite cold, really cold. So warming the teaware is actually quite important.
Hey, Simona, sorry, 4 grams for non-meaty. How many milliliters of water?
あともうお湯の量もコーリーさん来てます。もう
ごめんね。
お湯の量は今日は150ミリリットル、150cc を入れます。
So today we will be using 150 milliliters of water. But first of all, we are just warming the tea water, so we will come back to the brewing in a moment.
では入れますね。温まった急須に今日は茶葉を4グラム。
So after we have warmed the teapot, we can add the tea leaves into the teapot.
で、沸騰した熱いお湯を 150cc。
And this time we are pouring the boiling water, 150 milliliters, directly on the tea leaves.
1分半くらい待ちます。
And waiting time is 1 minute 30 seconds. So I'm just repeating again, we have 4 grams of tea, 150 milliliters of water at boiling temperature, and we are brewing it for 1 minute 30 seconds.
急須を最初に温めるんですけども、このお湯飲みも一緒に温めておくといいと思います。
And at first we warmed up the teapot, the kyusu, but it's also good to warm up the cups.
待ってると長い。
It takes a bit of time, 1 minute 30. もうでも香り感じてますすぐ部屋の中に。Can you feel the aroma coming out already?
で、直接お湯飲みに注いでもいいですし、今日は2人分入れるので、1回こういうポットに移します。
And you can, if you want, you can already pour the tea directly into the cups. But today, Yokoyama-san is preparing the tea for 2 people. So she's using this kind of pitcher to then distribute the tea.
で、蓋を少しずらしておき、2煎目のために蓋を少しずらしておきます。
And to prepare for the second brew, it's good to have the lid of the teapot a little bit open, not to close it fully.
ではお茶が入りました。
Oh, すごい。Well, the tea seems to be ready. How about you? Do you have your tea ready? Oh, nice, nice, Cody.
Okay.
So if everyone has prepared the tea, please, everyone, raise it up. Let's do a kanpai together.
Kanpai.
いただきます。美味しい。すっごくいい香りします。デルフィンからコメント来てます。So what do you think, everyone? Please share us your thoughts about the taste, about the aroma, anything comes to your mind.
It's
Sweet.
so sweet. Yeah.
甘いですね。
I think
It seems
that
very light.
when I had it earlier today, it was like, wow, I was blown away by the sweetness, but it wasn't a sugar sweetness. It was a very different kind of very light, sweetness, and then the toastiness was kind of the back note that kind of came up. But it was so aromatic. Oh, I just kept my nose in the.
さっき同じお茶のほうじ茶ちょっと前に入れまして、で、その時思ってたのはすごく甘くて、でも砂糖の甘さじゃなくて、まあなんかちょっと違う甘さ、最初感じて、で、その後はほうじ茶、香りとか味きました。
うん。
合ってますか？
合ってます。はい。茎が甘いんじゃないですかね。茎が、お茶の茎を、ほうじた時の甘さが出てくると、茎の甘さがね、出てくると思います。
So the sweetness, Miyazaki-san is explaining, it's coming from the stems themselves. So the tea stems, they tend to have a bit more sweetness, and this is where we are feeling it.
So I have a question about.
Are we saying that his processing that he used with the tea stems made it sweet, or are they just naturally sweet and no matter what you do with them?
Yeah, so first part, that the stems are naturally sweet, more sweet, and now I will ask about the processing. ちょっと質問も来まして、その甘さは茎からで甘くになるか、その製造のところで甘さ出すことですか？
茎を焙煎することによってなんかこう反応するんですよね。ちょっと甘くなる反応ができて、だからまあ原料も茎やし、それを焙煎、ほうじることで甘さがほのかに出てくると思います。
Miyazaki-san is telling us that yes, naturally the stems are they have sweetness, they are a bit sweeter, but also the roasting process helps to bring out that sweetness more to the front. I think someone else had something.
Yeah. My experience with other hojicha teas is that they taste very, very smoky. I feel like I'm in a campfire, outside. And this is much, much lighter than that. So is that the cultivar? Is that the processing?
Okay. もう一つの質問が来まして、シンティアから。他のほうじ茶を飲んだ時に思ったことは、すごく煙の香りとか煙の味がなってますけど、今回のほうじ茶はそれは全くなくて、で、何が違うですか？そのほうじる時、製造の時、ほうじるの時、何が違う工程でしょうか？
今回のほうじ茶は、うちもいろんなほうじ茶作ってるんですけど、今回のほうじ茶は、茎のちょっとこう、いい香りを飛ばさないように、焙煎の温度をかなり低くしてますね。普通のほうじ茶の時はもっとこう温度を上げて煙が出るぐらいやるんですけど、このほうじ茶はちょっと茎のいい香りがするんで、それを飛ばないようにちょっと火入れを抑えてます。
ちなみにその火入れの温度はどれぐらいですか？今回と普通と比べて。
そうですね。普通のほうじ茶はもう200度近いんですけど、このほうじ茶は140度、45度ぐらい。
そうですね。So that was a very good question, and Miyazaki-san has an answer for us, of course. So one big difference compared to regular hojichas, which he also makes, is the roasting temperature. Typically, the regular hojichas are roasted at a really high temperature, about 200 degrees Celsius. But this time, Miyazaki-san wanted to preserve more of this kind of sweeter, beautiful floral aroma. So he roasted at the lower temperature, at about 140-145 degrees Celsius. So that's why maybe that smokiness is less present this time.
Mm-hmm. I've often felt with hojicha that when I share it with a friend and I explain what it is, they're either going to love it or they're not going to be interested. It's going to be too strong a taste. And this feels like I could serve this very broadly to people who are not as tolerant of those extreme tastes, the strong tastes, because it's very, very light and gentle. The color is really light and gentle, and there's that little bit of sweetness in it. So nice work. How long did it take to get to this point? I mean, like when did you start thinking about it? And then now you're in the place where it's on market. What's that journey like?
Okay, very good question, Cynthia. I also want to know this. ちょっと、シンティアからコメントがあって、このほうじ茶はすごく、優しい味とか色も優しい感じで、多分誰にも出しても好きになる。他のほうじ茶はちょっと好き嫌いの人が多いんですけど、今回は多分すごく味優しいから、誰でも好きになる新茶だと思います。で、他の質問は、このほうじ茶作るの流れはどうでしたか？どれぐらい時間かかりました？そのアイディアから商品まで流れについてのちょっとシンティアも我々も知りたいですね。
結構話すと長くなるけど大丈夫ですか？
So the explanation might become a little bit long, but I think we all want to hear it.
これこの花香ほうじ茶はもともと茶畑でお茶の収穫してた時になんか摘んだ収穫後の切り口からすごいいい花の香りがしてくるんで、なんでやろうと思ってこの切り口ね摘んでいったらどうなるだろうと思って作ったことがあるんですよ。かまり茶をですね、番茶を。でそしたらすごくすごい香りのいい原料ができたんですけど、そのままだったらなんかちょっとえぐいっていうかね、ちょっとこうそのままじゃなかなかちょっと飲みにくかったんで、どうしようと思ってたらいろんなお茶の詳しい人がやってきて、中国茶の詳しい人がやってきて、ね、この原料ちょっと焙煎したら面白いんじゃないってなって、でいろいろ焙煎の実験してて、この温度よりもっと低いとかもうちょっと高めに入れてみたいな感じでいろいろ実験してみて作ったらなんかすごい華やかなほうじ茶ができたっていうのがですね、たまたま偶然にできたお茶ですね。
偶然ですね。いい偶然でした。So the very interesting story. So when Miyazaki-san was harvesting tea some time ago, what he noticed is that at the point where the stem is cut, when you harvest with a machine, you cut the stem in half. He noticed that at those points, the aroma was very beautiful, very floral. And so he thought he would like to try to make the tea out of it. So first try was with material from bancha. Bancha tea, so he tried with that, and he found out that the aroma was very floral, very beautiful, but it was a little bit maybe difficult to drink, a little bit strong. So then he also talked with a lot of other tea professionals, so people who have knowledge about Chinese teas and from other regions, and he got advice that maybe it could be good to roast this material, to heat it a little bit, so that could create a nicer taste and aroma. And so he did that many times, trying many different temperatures until he arrived to this tea that we are tasting today. ちなみにどれぐらい時間かかりましたの？その最初のアイディアから商品できるまで。
いやでも原料作ってからやったら2年ぐらい、2、3年かな、2、3年かかってます、ね。
This whole process, this experimentation has taken about 2-3 years. そうですね。じゃあ、それから2戦目入れてみますか？2戦目入れながら次の話もしましょうか。So I heard someone had a question, but just one pause. We are going to make the second brew, and then we can come back to the questions and a bit more explanation.
That was my question. What time for the second and third brew?
Oh, okay. Good timing. 横山さん入れますか？
はい。
はい。
そしたら、
教えてください。
2戦目は、またさっきの急須にそのままのものに。
So for the second brew, we have the tea already in the teapot, so we are going to use the same.
また沸騰したお湯を。
And we are using boiling water again.
また 150cc ぐらい。
Also 150 milliliters.
で、今度はまた1分半からちょっと濃いめが好きだったら2分ぐらいお好みで待って。
And this time also we can brew for about 1 minute 30. But if you like it a bit stronger, you could wait up until 2 minutes as well.
見てる。
見えてます。はい。いいですね。A bit of time.「このお茶は何回まで入れることができますか？」
そうですね。時間が1分とか1分半とか抽出する時間が短かったら3回か4回ぐらいは入れられると思います。で、抽出の時間が長くてこうしっかり濃いのを出したかったら2回ぐらいかなと思います。
So I'm asking about this tea, how many times we can make it in total. And Yokoyama-san tells us that it depends a little bit on how long we steep each time. So if we are using these kind of a bit shorter steepings, about a minute and a half, maybe we can make it 3-4 times. If we liked it stronger and wanted to steep it longer, about 2 minutes or so, then maybe it could be good for about 2 brews. So I think we all probably should have it ready.
お茶ができました。
できました。いいですね。綺麗な色ですね。Beautiful. Kanpai, everyone. いい香り。All right, so as we are tasting the second tea, we would also like, the second brew, we would also like to share a little bit of introduction to Miyazaki-san and their farm. And some of you who joined the marathon, I think you have heard already, so it might be a refresher. But for those who are joining first time, we would like to introduce the tea farm in a bit more detail. So I'm going to share the screen and we can all look at it together. Can you see it? Yeah. Okay, so so today Miyazaki-san from Miyazaki Sabo, their tea farm name, they are joining us and bringing the teas. And you probably know or maybe remember that very interestingly, Miyazaki-san is based in Miyazaki Prefecture. And this prefecture is at the south of Japan, so in the Kyushu island. And it has very beautiful nature. So a lot of high mountains, over 1,500, 600, 700 meters. So it's a very beautiful place. You sometimes come above the clouds on the mountains. And it also has a beautiful river valley called Takachiho. So that's one of the close by attractions for people to go and visit. And in terms of tea, the prefecture does make quite a lot of tea in Japan. So it takes the 4th place currently compared to others. So it's not as much as the leaders, Shizuoka and Kagoshima, but it ranks quite high within Japan. And there are many different tea regions inside Miyazaki Prefecture. So we can see there are about 4 clusters, 4 different areas. And today, Miyazaki-san is coming from Gokase, Takachiho region. So we can have a closer look at their farm. So this is from the drone shot above the tea farm. So very beautiful scenery. I can see the mountains in the far side. Yeah, so they are located here on the edge of the prefecture in the Gokase town. Quite now well known for teas. And a little bit of data, a little bit of information about the tea farm we are meeting today. So Miyazaki Sabo started in 1930, so close to 100 years, so celebration in a few years. And currently the farm size is about 11 hectares. So this is quite medium to bigger size compared to other farms. Typically, it's very much a small family farm that looks after 1 or 2 hectares of tea, but this time it's a little bit larger. And they are also very much focusing on organic tea. So they have the organic Japanese JAS certification. Everything is produced in a little bit smaller scale. So both the harvesting machines are the handheld style, where you carry the machine on top of the tea field. And also the processing machines are quite much smaller than currently used in other regions. So they can be 2, 3, 4 times larger than Miyazaki-san has. So the production is kind of on smaller batch, smaller scale. And we know Miyazaki-san now already quite well, meeting for the 2nd time in the marathon and here on the Meet the Tea Farmer event. So this was captured then when our team member Matsu went around the tea regions in Japan, taking the footage. So this was the meeting with Miyazaki-san in springtime. So about the history, we have a summary, and I think we would like to ask more to hear from Miyazaki-san as well. But basically, they told us that why they chose organic way already quite a long time ago is because they had an accident of a friend passing away from the pesticides. And this was the mind-changing moment to switch to make it more healthy for humans and the environment. However, Miyazaki-san got told by everyone around him that if he doesn't die from pesticides, from the use of pesticides, he might die from exhaustion because organic production is quite intensive, needs a lot of energy and a lot of power. Miyazaki-san、この話についてはもう少し言ってくれますか？勇気に変えるきっかけとか、変える時期、だいぶみんなより早かったですよね。
そうですね。当時ね、無農薬、オーガニックやってた時はですね、いろいろみんなに変わり者って言われてたんですけど、うちの母がですね、やっぱり農薬使うのに、絶対反対してたんで、自分たちもですね、それに洗脳されてですね、農薬使わないお茶作りをやりました。当時いっぱいね草が生えたりしてですね、手でむしってたんでですね、農薬じゃなくならないけど過労死して健康のためにですね、過労死するなっていうくらいの作業でした当時ですね。今はもうみんなでやってるんでですね、大丈夫なんですけど。
で、スタートはそれもう30、40年前ぐらいでしたんですよね、雪の。
そうですね。はい。
すごい、すごい。So Miyazaki-san is telling us that his mom very strongly suggested for organic farming to quit the pesticides because of the story told earlier. But when they tried organic way, they noticed that there is a lot of hard work. So weeding all had to be done by hand, and a lot of neighbors looked a little bit strangely at them. And there was a lot of talk that yeah, you might really pass away because of exhaustion, because of how much effort it takes. But Miyazaki-san didn't want to give up. Their family wanted to continue the organic style that they started already a long time ago. So before almost anyone else in Japan, so about 30, 40 years ago. And they didn't give up, and now there are a lot of people who are following their example and producing organic tea in their region as well. And also very interesting thing about Miyazaki Sabo is that typically tea is produced in Japan by a family, so family unit, maybe husband and wife, or including the children's family and so on. But Miyazaki-san Sabo has evolved into a team, so it's not just focused on one family, but now they have a lot of people working together, like Yokoyama-san, who was joining us today. この話も面白いですね。家族だけじゃなくて、いろんな人と一緒に協力して、お茶作るんですね。今は何人ぐらいですか、宮崎サボに関わってる人。
そうですね。まあ、今ちょっと農閑期なんで、まあ、10何人、12、3人なんですけど、忙しくなったら、ね、20人超えたりしますね。
収穫の時期に。
はい。全国からやってきて、はい。
So right now it's a little bit off season. So there are about 11, 12 people on the farm. But during the harvesting season, they get about 20 people coming from all around Japan to help them make the tea. And also Miyazaki Sabo has a lot of recognition in Japan, so they have received a lot of awards, and probably the most impressive is the Emperor's Cup in 2002. They have also received the Japan Agriculture Prize, so recognition from the Agricultural Ministry, and they're participating in a lot of domestic and international contests. すごい賞ですね。いろいろ天皇の賞、農林水産の賞ですよね。これどうしたらこうできますか、宮崎さん。
いや、まあ、これ、有機の、お茶作りっていうのはですね、まあ、その頃まだ全然誰もやってなかったんで、やっぱり珍しかったんでしょうね。で、まあ、いろんなお茶作りにこう挑戦してるんで、まあ、それ評価されたんだと思います。
So I asked, what do you have to do to receive these kind of awards? And Miyazaki-san tells that these awards are typically received specifically for organic production. So at that time, there were not that many producers yet. And so they got the recognition for using this kind of different style, organic style. But now they are also producing a lot of interesting, a lot of unique teas. And they're bringing those to the competitions too. はい。で、これからちょっとウーロン茶の作り方の説明も一緒にお願いできますか？多分いろんな収穫と製造の写真がありますから、それはどういう工程とかどういう感じやってたんですか？
ウーロン茶の作り方ですか？
はい。はい。で、これ収穫のシーンですね。
うん、これ収穫のシーンですね。これ、まあ、これ、こうやって3人1組、2人で機械持って、1人で袋を持って、3人1組で お茶を摘んでる様子です。
So here we can see the harvesting, and we are going now to hear a bit more about the next tea, the oolong, how it is produced and how it is made. And typically they're using these handheld machines for harvesting the tea. And usually it is a team of 3 people. So 2 people holding the machine and 1 person holding the bag that is filling up with the tea leaves.
はい。で、これ、ウーロン茶ですね。摘んできた葉っぱを一回、日光に当てます。これ、まあ、20分から30分ぐらい。まあ、日によって違うんですけどね。
太陽当たって外で。
うん、外で、太陽に当てて、ちょっと茶温を温めます。
So this is where the production of oolong cha begins. This is the first step to leave it out in the sun for about 20-30 minutes.
はい。次、これをですね、また、日陰の方に、ずらします。で、室内調置からですね、日が当たってないところで、葉っぱを胃腸させる作業です。
And here we can see the withering step that is done now indoors. So taking the leaves away from the sun, putting them in the shade.
はい。で、これ、室内調したのを夕方、まあ、5時ぐらいにですね、この胃腸機、夜に回転するマシンなんですけど、それに入れて、胃腸を促進します。夜の間に、少しずつ回ったり止まったり、回ったり止まったりしています。
結構長い時間、ずっと、
これ、そうですね、13時間から4時間かな、もっとかな。まあ、そのくらい入れてます。はい。
And next, the tea leaves are transferred into the withering machine, where they are being kind of rotated and withered for about 13-14 hours. So starting around 5 in the evening and going until the next morning. これ、そのマシン出てきた茶葉ですね。そうですね。少し一応なってて。
はい。ここから制度なんで横山の方に変わりますね。
わかりました。And now we are going to hear a bit more from Yokoyama-san, who is also participating in the production of this tea.
で、葉っぱの色が少しだけ緑から少し赤く変わるんですけども、葉っぱの周りだけが。で、香りがすごく甘い香りに変わったところで、今度は殺生機という釜でいっていきます。
So after withering, just the edges of the tea started to change a little bit in the color. The leaf, as we saw, was still quite green, just the edges starting to turn a bit red. And they are putting these leaves then into this kind of a heating machine where the leaves are heated up.
200度ぐらいに温めた釜で5分ぐらいいって、その後10年という機械で揉んでいきます。
And in this machine, the time is very short, just about 5 minutes, but the temperature quite high, about 200 degrees Celsius. So once the tea leaves are heated up inside, then they are brought into the rolling machine, the strong rolling machine.
で、揉むのも軽く優しく揉んで、最後は乾燥機で1時間ぐらいかけて乾燥させます。
これですね。
はい。
And the tea leaves then are rolled strongly but gently. So this is quite important for Japanese tea, not to tear up the leaves to keep them in shape, just to press the inner moisture outside. And so they are rolled for quite a while using a few different machines. And at the very end, they are put into the drying machine. So we get the final look like this. これはもう出来たてですよね。
はい、出来上がりです。
So these are the leaves after processing. Okay. そしてこれも入れてみますか？
はい。
So now we know how it looks. We can also try to make it together. So I think Yokoyama-san will show us how to do it.
今からこの高千穂ウーロン茶って、高千穂は品種の名前です。
これはローカルですよね。高千穂地域の品種ですよね。
はい。そこから付けられた名前、高千穂。
So next we are going to try the Takachiho Oolong. So the name of this tea is Takachiho Oolong, and Takachiho is also a cultivar name. So it's a local cultivar made in Miyazaki Prefecture.
で、これも葉っぱが今日は4グラムにしました。2人分入れます。
So for this tea also we are using 4 grams and we can make 2 cups out of it.
で、こちらもまたさっきと同じように最初にこの茶器を温めます。
And just like before, we also want to warm up the teaware, so pouring the boiling water into the teapot. Okay, so I see Audrey is asking for the cultivar name. It's called Takachiho, like the region name.
Takachiho.
で、温まった急須に茶葉を入れます。
Once the teapot is warm, then we can add the tea leaves inside. Kirena chaba desu ne. The tea leaves look so beautiful.
沸騰したお湯を。またさっきと同じぐらい 150cc ぐらい。
And this time we are also using boiling water and 150 milliliters like before. So 4 grams of tea and 150 milliliters of boiling water. 時間は
1分半ぐらい。
Brewing time 1 minute 30.
What was the cultivar of the hojicha?
Oh, good question. 宮崎さん、ほうじ茶の時で、どんな品種でしたか？
ほうじ茶の品種は、今回のいろいろ混ざってるんですけど、今回は多分、南さやかと高千穂と在来多めですね。
So this time it's a bit of a blend, and there are probably 3 cultivars combined together, including Minami Sayaka, Takachiho, the one we will be tasting now, and Zairai, the original kind of native plant. 品種はどれぐらい持ってますか？どれぐらいお茶作ってますか？
品種は20種類以上ありますね。
Wow, すごい。There are so many cultivars on the Miyazaki Sabo tea farm. We have 20 different cultivars.
1分半今経ったので。
So now a minute and a half has passed and we can pour the tea. Takachiho の品種は特徴は何ですか？
高千穂の特徴ですか？
はい。
緑茶的な特徴は、ちょっとハーブっぽい、ちょっとスッとした感じの 特徴なんですけど、これを日韓ウーロン茶の方で作ると花香がするようなんですね。花香がすごい強い珍しい品種ですね。
So asking about this cultivar, Takachiho cultivar, what is interesting or special about it? For green tea, it tends to be a little bit stronger, a bit powerful, but for oolong tea, it helps to reveal those very floral notes. So aromatic floral cultivar. 違いますね。ほうじ茶と。Very different color with the first tea. ああ、すごい香り。
いただきます。
美味しい。So delicious. What does everyone else think?
Very floral. I got sweetness and also a soft sensation on my tongue. It felt soft. I was trying to identify the flower.
Oh, okay.
Would you say honeysuckle?
Honeysuckle? Yeah, possibly. Okay. すごく花ような香りしてます。オーディはハニーサクル、日本語だとちょっとわからないんですけど、そういうある花の香りするって言ってまして。
It definitely is more grassy than the hojicha. I mean, hojicha was lighter, but this I feel much more plant material, grass material. And I feel that way a lot with greens, but this is, oolongs tend to not seem as grassy. This is on the grassier side of oolongs for me, if that makes any sense.
Maybe a bit greener. ほうじ茶と比べて、この茶はちょっと青臭い、なんか緑の味ありますね。ほうじ茶はちょっとほうじて、そういうほうじた味してるんですけど、これはちょっと緑に近い味してる。進呈見てます。
そうですね。これ焙煎ほぼしてないんで緑のまんまですね。
So this tea is not roasted at all, almost at all. That's why it can feel a bit greener, grassier.
How long is the other tea roasted for?
ほうじ茶に話戻るんですけど、焙煎の時間はどれぐらいでしたか？
ほうじ茶ですか？
はい。
ほうじ茶の焙煎時間は、1時間ぐらいですね。
あ、そうですか。
結構長めに、低温で長めにするんですね。
In case of hojicha, it was quite a long roasting, so about 1 hour. The temperature was quite low, yeah, but the roasting time was quite long.
Thank you.
普通のほうじ茶はね、短い15分から20分ぐらいなんですけど。
Usually, for other hojichas, typically the roasting time could be 15-20 minutes, but using high temperature. Yeah, we said 200 degrees and then 15 to 20 minutes. And this time it's the opposite. The temperature is cooler, but the roasting time is longer.
Well, no wonder it took 2 to 3 years to figure that out.
それで3年かかりましたんですね。その温度とか時間とか完璧まで決める時間にいろいろ必要でしたんですよね。
そうですね。定着するまで、時間かかりました。
The oolong cha is beautiful. It's a beautiful tea. Could you ask, please, for the hojicha, how are the stems separated from the leaves and at what point?
Good question. またほうじ茶の話なんですけど、マークさんは、どのタイミングにとどうやって茎と葉っぱ分けますか？このところ知りたいですね。
一回あら茶って言って摘んで釜入り茶でずっと製造して乾燥まで全部一緒にして一番最後に葉っぱと枝を分けますね。あれですよ、一回上だけ摘んだ残りを下だけ摘んでくるんですよ。摘んできたやつを番茶としてずっと作っていって、で最後半分ずつぐらいあるんで遠見で一回分けて最後にもう一回色選機選別機で。
最初は釜入り茶用の新芽取って、でその後に残ってる茎もう一度取る感じ。
これで一回摘んだ後に、
はい。
これで一回摘んだ後にこの下をもう一回次の日とか、まあその日の夕方に、時間を置いてですね、摘んで。
で、それも釜入り茶用に製造して、で一番最後分ける。で、葉っぱはとか使ったりしますか？その残りの葉っぱはどうなりますか？
残りの葉っぱもちょっとほうじて使ったりしてます。
It's very interesting. So, so you had a good question mark, and we got even more detail. So, what happens is that Miyazaki-san, first of all, harvests the new shoots for kamairicha, and then 1 or 2 days later, he comes back to the same field and cuts a little bit under those new shoots. So, the remaining stem, he cuts a little bit of that stem. And then that part is processed as kamairicha. So the whole stem and leaf, they travel together through the process, through the pan frying. And after drying, then the leaf and the stem is separated. And they both are then individually roasted. すごい面白いですね。
And then they're put back together. After there's the leaves and the stems, then they're joined together in the packaging.
その釜入り茶作って分けて焙煎してでまた一緒に合わせますか？そのままバラバラ。
バラバラで今のところバラバラです。
So no, they don't mix it. So the stems are by themselves and the leaves are by themselves. And today we were tasting the stem part.
Which is why when I looked at it, it didn't seem like there were hardly any leaves in there at all. There's little bits, but not very much. So some of the other hojicha I think that I've had has been more of a mixture. It's been leaves plus stems. Is that correct? Or am I just not remembering correctly?
そうですね。今回シンティア袋開けたら少しびっくりしました。茎だけ葉っぱ少ししか入ってなくてそれでびっくりしました。ほうじ茶の名前で今まで慣れてたのはほうじ茶っていうと茶葉と茎一緒に入ってますよね。で、多分ネーミング名前つけるのところでなぜこのお茶ほうじ茶の名前使ってるとかそういうのを説明。
名前ですか？名前、ちょっと焙煎をこれそうですね、焙煎を強くしないとちょっとこう甘くならないというかですね、あれしないそういうのもあってちょっとこうほうじのイメージで作ってみました。はい。
Hi. So a good question. And yes, Cynthia, in a lot of cases, hojicha is the leaves and the stems can be together. But there are also roasted stems that in some cases are called hojicha as well. And in some other cases, they can be called another name like kukicha. But in this case, Miyazaki-san is telling us that he roasted it for quite a long time, as we heard, and he had this image of the roasted tea. So that's why he decided to call it hojicha.
Yeah, it's a beautiful tea. Thank you. They both are great.
Cynthia, I really appreciate you bringing that up, because I opened the bag myself and I was like, it's a cookie cha, and it's a cookie hoji cha, and I was surprised as well. I agree with you. I was like, this is a little different from a lot of the hoji chas that I typically open and kind of look at. So yeah, totally.
So it's interesting. I mean, I think it really represents the tea is really quite gentle, and some hoji chas are kind of like very rough and kind of like, again, campfire like, and kind of lovely, but you wouldn't serve them maybe after a fancy meal. And this is a very, very gentle one. And in the same way, the oolong is not quite like some of the oolongs that I've had. So it's really fascinating to see how much difference the approach of the person doing the processing is. And that's really the joy of this event. So thank you.
Thank you, Cynthia. Okay, I'm going to also translate to Miyazaki-san. 小入さんも袋開けたら茎生えてると見ててびっくりしました。ほうじ茶と葉っぱのイメージ強いですので茎見ると少しびっくりしまして、でもシンティア後に言ってたことはこのほうじ茶もウーロン茶、さっき飲んでたウーロン茶も今まで飲んだと全然違っててほうじ茶はすごく優しい味ですから食事とかよく合うんじゃないかなって考えてて、でウーロン茶もまた少し違う味、今まで飲んだと比べたら違う味なので、それでその違いはその茶農家さんの性格から出てるんじゃないかなと今考えててパーソナリティみたいな茶農家さんのパーソナリティはそのお茶に移ることですよね。
多分そうだと思います。はい。
Yeah, so Miyazaki-san agrees with you, Cynthia. His personality.
I have a question about the so on the hojicha, they had cut the field or that bunch of bushes for something else, and then they went back a couple of days later and cut it a little deeper so that they could then make the hojicha. So is that like, would that be like leaf 4 and 5 if you looked at a whole stem? So that's one question. And then normally aren't oolongs, I thought I saw that the oolongs when they were laying down and green after they had just been cut were quite long. So was that then they use all of the leaves down to leaf number 5 roughly, but the hojicha is just a section?
Okay. Let's check, Paula. That's a good question. パラから質問が来てまして、ほじ茶については宮崎さん教えた感じに、さっき収穫して、釜入り茶の方に新芽使うの話があって、で、ほじ茶のために使う茶葉は4、5、4になりますか？多分釜入り茶の方で上の部分ですね。で、大体どんな葉っぱその並んだったら2、3、4、5どのあたりですか
？4、5ぐらいです。4、5。はい。
So the answer to the first question about hojicha is yes, Paula, you're correct. So the tea used for kamairicha is the top of that new shoot. And then what we are using for this hojicha for today is the 4th and the 5th leaf. So those lower, more mature leaves. でそれに次にウーロン茶の話なんですけど写真見たら結構新芽長くてもう多分4までいってまして、でその全部ウーロン茶に使いますかどこのタイミングに分けて使い方分かれるんですか？ウ
ーロン茶は割と全部使うですね。ちょっと成熟させた方が香りがいいんで、新芽の中でもちょっと成熟させた時期に
So for oolongcha, as we saw in the picture as well, they are using the full new shoot. So we saw quite a few leaves. And the reason is that when the leaf and the stem become more mature, they have a bit more floral notes, floral aroma compared if we only use the tip of the shoot. So that's why they are using the whole up to maybe 4 or 5 leaves. Right. And I see also questions in the chat about the second, third brew. So let's ask if we can make another one. チャットにも質問があって、2戦目、3戦目とかいられますか？
はい。また、
ウーロン茶の時、ウーロン茶に関して。
はい。ウーロン茶も次にここに今入れるかな。また、同じようにお湯を注いで、今度は1分ぐらいでいいかなと思います。
And of course, we can make the oolong cha again as well. So we're using boiling water, 150 milliliters, and 1 minute 30 for brewing.
で、同じように、2回、3回、3戦目ぐらい、4戦目ぐらいまでいけるかな。
And same as before, for hojicha also can be brewed 3-4 times.
Can I ask a question during the infusion?
Yes, of course.
So I would like to know if Miyazaki-san can tell you a bit about the state of oolong in Japan, since it's a bit of a newer tea. What are some inspiration, and if he could tell us maybe if producers are talking to each other to help create a new Japanese style oolong.
Okay, nice. Delphine, let's ask. 宮崎さん、デルフィンから質問があって、ウーロン茶の状況について、日本でまだウーロン茶が少し珍しいのお茶のイメージがあって、で、生産者とか、お互いに協力したりするんでしょうか。で、何がその日本的なウーロン茶作るの方法に向かってたりするんでしょうか。そういうなんか新しい日本のウーロン茶のイメージ作るのために台湾とか中国と違うの。
そうですね。こっちの宮崎の産地の人は高千穂五ヶ瀬の人はもともとほらお茶の製造が釜入り茶なんでウーロン茶を製造する工程と一緒なんですよ。だからこの地域の人たちはみんな胃腸をかけて今ですねウーロン茶作り地域を挙げてやってるところですね。でも全国的にも今そういうウーロン茶ねちょっとずつ作る人がいてですねここ 1,2 年で相当全国的にまだ少量なんですけどたくさん作る人が増えてきてます。でいろんな人が見に来たりですね僕たちもいろいろな情報交換してですねどんどんこの技術を上げているところですね。
So very interesting is that the region where Miyazaki-san is based is really known for pan-fried teas, kamairicha. And actually the process of making oolong cha is not so different from kamairicha. So it's quite easy to jump from one into another. And there are a lot of tea farmers in the region who are trying to make oolong cha. So that is growing and increasing, and there are collaborations among them. But also Miyazaki-san notices that even across Japan, the interest in oolong cha is growing, and there are a lot more tea producers who are trying in some other regions as well. But so far, the production is still quite small, small amount.
Thank you.
I just noticed that one of you had raised your hand, and yeah, we haven't called you yet. Name Yamaoka T. Would you like to say, to give your comments or ask your question?
Hi, sorry. My question was answered from the other participant before.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, it's about the difference between cookie cha and hoji cha.
Oh,
Like the
okay.
hoji cha, yeah.
Okay, that's great.
Thank
We
you.
saw. 前質問がありましたけど、答えはもう出てましたから大丈夫です。茎茶とほうじ茶の違いについて。はい。And how is the second brew, everyone?
It's even better.
2戦目もっと美味しいです。ウーロン茶の。
Yeah, I'm finding the floral notes even stronger, and the sweetness is even sweeter. I don't know. Does anybody else have that same experience?
Yeah, I think so. It seems to be a tea that's quite sensitive to the time and to the ratio of water and tea and things. Not very forgiving. So I made my second cup more carefully, and it's also a lot nicer than the first one. Yeah, which I think I might have brewed for slightly too long, maybe just 15 or 20 seconds, and it got a bit bitter, slightly just moving toward bitterness. But this is just even more beautiful than the first one.
2人の意見聞くと2戦目はもっと美味しくになりまして、もっと甘みが多くて花ような香り強くなりました。で、マークさんは1戦目の時ちょっと時間横山さん教えたよりちょっと伸びて、でなんか強く渋くなりましたけど2戦目はまあすごく甘くて美味しいですって言ってます。
Yeah, I completely agree. The second brew has even more floral aroma. But sort of my current thoughts are both of these teas, you know, I really like the flavor, but I think for me it's all about the smell of the wet leaf. Very like lots of flowers coming from the wet leaf of the oolong, and maybe it was just me, I'm hoping someone else smelled it, the wet leaf of the cookie cha, or sorry, the hoji cha, the cookie hoji cha, was I got like some peach. I got a little bit of like, you know, fruity peach coming off of that.
Interesting. Thank you for it. 小有さんは2戦目みんなと同じでウーロン茶の2戦目もっと花ような香りになりましたって言ってます。でも小有さんは飲むだけじゃなくて入れた後の茶葉の香りも楽しむ好きで、その入れた後の茶葉もすごくいい香りしててほうじ茶の場合でちょっと桃フルーティーな香りしましたって今言ってます。
ありがとうございます。
Yeah, very aromatic. Yeah, please go ahead.
I'll say like I very much agree with about the wet leaves. The oolong cha has probably the best aroma that I've smelled in any wet leaf. It is fantastic.
The wet oolong cha, the one we try now.
Yeah, I can't stop smelling it.
Yeah. I just keep doing it the entire time. I'm like, all right.
It's like perfume.
そうみんな今はその入れた後の茶葉の香り楽しんでてパトリックも今まで飲んだお茶も全部のお茶の中で一番香りいいって言ってます。オードリーもなんかパフュームみたいなすごくまあ花的な香りですね。そう私たちも確認しないといけない。どう思いますか、宮崎さん。
そうですね。まあ茎の方はその 摘んだ時もすごい香りがね、する茶っ葉を摘んでるんで、やっぱりね、うまく報じて、いい具合で出てるなと思います。で、ウーロン茶もね、やっぱり品種がすごくウーロン茶に向いてる品種やし、作り方もすごく合ってると思うんでですね、すごいいい香りで良かったです。
Miyazaki-san is telling that in case of hojicha, he already felt those floral notes on the field as he was harvesting. So that was how this tea came about in the first place, noticing these floral notes. And in terms of oolong cha, so this cultivar, Takachiho, is very suitable for oolong teas. It naturally has those kind of floral notes that come out through the oolong production. So that's why he says that, yeah, these teas have this nice floral aroma.
Well, I found that the hojicha after the third steeping, there was so much fragrance still in my kyushu that I decided I was going to dump them out and onto a paper towel and dry them because I wanted to see if that fragrance was still there when it was dry. It wasn't nearly as pronounced as when it was wet. But then I decided, you know what? I think I'm going to take all these stems and put them in chicken stock soup. See what would happen. I didn't get very far with the experiment before I started putting other things in there, but I really wanted to try that. And the other comment I thought was that on the oolong cha, that it reminded me of a delicate Chihuahua.
Okay. ポーラからいろんな意見があって、今ちょっと夜から今お茶入れたらカフェイン弱いんですけど、イベントの前にもう何時間ちょっと前に入れて、でポーラもその茎よく香り、ほじ茶の茎よく香りするから、3煎目まで入れて、で、その茎また乾燥したら同じ香り続くかなと考えてて、で、実験してみました。入れた後にまた乾燥して、で、結論的には、入れるとき香りもっと強かったですけど、その後に乾燥しても香りもまたありました。で、その次にやりたいことは、味噌汁みたいスープにその茎入れようと思ってて、どうなるかなとまた実験してみたいと言ってます。
ありがとうございます。
So, everyone, thank you so much for sharing the thoughts and the ideas. I think we got all inspired to do more with these teas, but we are actually coming a lot over time, but a little bit close to the ending time. We are already taking a bit more than we planned. Yeah, I hope you all enjoyed being part of this event, and we want to hear maybe some last words from Miyazaki-san and Yokoyama-san. 宮崎さん、横山さんも時間ちょっとなりますから、最後の一言とか言ってくれますか？
はい、今日はありがとうございました。とても遠く離れていますけど、こうやってみんなでお茶を飲むことができて、いい機会でした。これからも、日本のお茶をいっぱい飲んで楽しんでください。ありがとうございます。
Everyone, thank you for joining from Yokoyama-san. She's saying that even we are all very far apart, but we could all come together to this event and to share the tea. So she hopes you will continue to drink and enjoy other Japanese teas as well. 宮崎さんは
僕ですね。僕もあれですね。今日本当ありがとうございました。飲んだら元気になるお茶作りっていうのをですね、モットーにみんなで頑張っていますんで、これからもよろしくお願いします。ありがとうございました。
Miyazaki-san is also telling a big thank you for all of you to all of you for coming today, and he wants to continue making the tea that is healthy and good for you, and yeah, hopefully we keep the connection and we stay together.